more buttons to calculate the minimum and the maximum for the particular data set that we have here. So as you can see, I've added 4 more label boxes and 2 buttons. Let's go ahead and calculate the minimum. In this click event handler, we want to first initialize lowest. Lowest will be the minimum, and we're going to step through the array to make sure that the lowest is the smallest element in the array. So I'm defining an integer, calling it lowest, and setting it equal to the array element that is first, which carries the subscript 0. Next, I need a for loop, and I'm going to run through index 1 to the end of the array, and this is because I already have index 0 preset as the lowest. So I'm now stepping through the array to see if I have an element that's indeed smaller than the first element, which sits in subscript 0. So while the index is less than the number of elements in the array, the comparison will continue. Next, I need an if statement. So if any particular element, which I'm calling numbers index, is less than the lowest, then what I'm asking my code to do is set the lowest equal to that particular element. So every time it encounters an array element that's smaller than the first one, it's going to replace the value of lowest. Outside my for loop, I want to push the value of the smallest element to the text box that I've created, which is called min_l, and that concludes the computation of the minimum. Next, I'm going to go back and do a similar algorithm for the maximum. So an integer called highest initialized to the first element of the array, followed by a for loop from the second element of the array till the end with my increment, so I don't run an infinite loop. Then I need my if statement. So if any element after the first one is larger than the highest, then the value of the variable highest will be replaced by that value. Next, I want to display it, and I'm ready to save the code and run it. So I can display my data, show the total and the average, which we did last time, and I have 2 extra functions, the minimum and the maximum.